Hello and welcome. Before we start today's lesson, I want you to reflect on familiar experience. You read a question carefully, you understood exactly what it is asking, you recognized the topic, and then something strange happened. Your mind went blank. You knew the topic, you understood the question, but the answer didn't come together. If you have experienced this in mock test, you are not alone here. And the reason this happened is not lack of knowledge. The real reason is unstructured thinking under pressure. Okay, so let me explain what it means. When brain is under pressure and you start thinking about a question without a structure, it enters what we call as a random retrieval mode. So it will randomly retrieve the facts what you have gained through your preparation. Instead of pulling the most relevant idea from memory, the brain start pulling whatever information is most recently activated, most emotionally charged, or most familiar. So the thought begins appearing in fragmentation. So one idea reminds you of another topic. That topic reminds you of different concept. Your mind jumps from connections that are loosely related, but nothing lands on a clear decision. So this is what many aspirants experience as my mind going blank. In reality, the mind is not blank. It is overactive but unstructured. And the solution is not to think harder. The solution is think within the predefined structure. So, I welcome you all to the day 4 of clear thinking under pressure, right? So, our day 4 deals with structure before thinking. Okay, never ask, do I know this? First, ask what structure is in this question. First, you have to ask what structure is this question. Then you have to think. Why unstructured thinking fails under pressure? I have explained you the 4 structural types of CQs we are going to discuss. How structure changes speed and accuracy we are going to discuss. Right? Let us start. So, in day 3, you have decoded the question. Now what to do? Day 3 solve the input problem. Today, you solve the processing problem. Right? So day 3 gave you 3 steps. Identify question type, find the decision word, find the elimination handle. That process tells you what asking. Done. Then today's session gives you the next step. How to organize your thinking so you can answer it clearly and cleanly. I hope you are getting my point. The experience almost every aspirant has had. You read a question, you decode it correctly, you understood exactly what was being asked. Okay, up to day 3, you have successfully completed. And then your mind went blank. Okay, you knew the topic, you decoded the question, and still nothing. That is not a knowledge failure. That is a unstructured thinking under pressure. Okay, what happens without structure is brain pulls random associated memories. Most recent or emotional facts surface first. Then thoughts spiral without landing anywhere. Then time passes, doubt grows, guess follows, right? But when you think in a structured way, brain is given a specific cognitive task because you are thinking structure in a structured way and relevant information is retrieved efficiently. Thinking executes a defined operation. So when you think structurally, thinking executes a defined operation. It will be define its own operation. So clean answer in 22 seconds, 20 to 30 seconds. So decoding identify what is being asked. In day 3, you have identified what has been asked. Now structure tells you how to think about it. I hope you are getting a clarity, right? So the structure is the blueprint. Very important. The structure is a blueprint. So the fix is not to think harder. The fix is to think in a predetermined structure. The architect analogy. Okay, if we take an analogy, imagine an architect walking onto a construction site. Option 1, wander around, pick up a material and random and try to build something. Okay, this is one option we have. And option 2, arrive with the blueprint, walk directly to what you need and build according to the plan. Same material, same knowledge, completely different efficiency. Okay, when you go through the option 2, it will be in a structured way, right? So that is what we have to do in a structured way, how to think to get the correct answer. So aspirant without structure face these problems. Random retrieval mode pulls whatever is most recently activated. Okay, pulls whatever is most emotionally charged, pulls whatever is more practiced, None of this is necessarily relevant. But when you think in a structured way, directed retrieval mode on. Identify the cognitive operation required. Retrieves only what passes the structural filter and execute the operation cleanly. Done in 20 to 30 seconds with high accuracy. Okay, before you think about the content, choose the frame which will evaluate the content. I hope you are getting my point clear. So, every UPSC MCQ belongs to one of the four structural types, right? First, it is not 20, not 10, not 20, only 4. Identify which one before engaging with content. Okay, first one is true or false validation. Test each statements always true, partially true, or false. So where it is testing in subjects like polity, environment, and economy. Okay, in the same way, classification test. Apply one definitional rule, categorize each item cleanly. In which subjects, economy, science and technology, and history. The same way, trend direction check. Verify the direction up, down, and unchanged. Treat trend claims with suspicion. Where it appears, economy, environment, and current events. And logical consistency. Does the consequence logically flow from the cause? Reasoning is greater than recall. Okay, where governance, economy, and polity are the most tested under this area. I hope you are getting my point. So the moment you identify the structure, your thinking narrows. That narrow is the advantage. I hope you are getting my point. So when it comes to the first structure, true or false validation, the most common structure in polity, environment, and part of economy is what it is. You are given a statement and asked which are correct or incorrect. Your job is not to recall everything about the topic. Your job is to test each statement against one question. Is this always true? Is it partially true or exaggerated or it is false? That's it. You have to identify the four options. So test one, always true. Is this statement universally valid without exception? You have to think, is there any exception whether this statement can be false? If you don't find any exception, then it is true. So, most true statement in UPSC pass this test, carefully worded with appropriate qualifiers, right? In the next, partially true. Is this statement mostly correct but with one false detail? UPSC regularly embeds one wrong element into an otherwise accurate statement. Okay, here the extremely true, here false, here partially true and partially false. But it is like plus into minus is equal to minus. That's how partially true and partially false always false for us. I hope you are getting my point. Then comes absolute or false. Does the statement use all, always, never, only, must? These are prime elimination candidates. UPSC uses absolutes as a trap, right? So look for absolute language. Reality is rarely absolute. Okay, theoretically it can be absolute, but in a practical sense it is not absolute. Reality is not absolutely absolute. I hope you are getting my point. So the next structure is classification. Given a list of items, how many belongs to certain category is one type of MCQs. What is it? You are given a list of items and asked how many belongs to a certain category. The task is not to recall. The task is to apply one definitional rule and categorizing each item cleanly against it. I hope you are getting my point. So cognitive operation is find the one definitional boundary, apply it to each item, count those that passes. Okay. Now we will apply this to a real-time examination question 2025. Okay. Rule IAF, alternative investment firms, that is equal to private pooled investment vehicle, not publicly traded, regulated under SEBI AIF rule, right? So bonds are false public debit market, not a private pooled fund. Okay. Hedged fund passes. Why? Because it is a private pool regulated under SEBI AF rule. Right? Stocks fails public equity market, not a private pooled fund. Venture capital passes because private pooled regulated under the SEBI AIF regulation. So result 2 time pass. Option B arrived at 22nd using one rule. Not by recalling everything about each instrument. If you recall each instrument definition, you have to waste 10 to 20 seconds there itself. So identifying day 3 thinking is different, and day 4 what we are doing is you are structuring your thinking process. So classification is one of them. I hope you are getting my point. You don't need to know everything about each item. You need the boundary of the category. That's it. I hope you are getting my point, right? Yes. The third structure is trend direction check. Statement about what has increased, decreased, or stayed the same. What it is. UPSC includes statements like India's exports of service have increased in recent years or the fiscal deficit has declined. The test whether you have accurate directional knowledge about the changing data or not. So here the cognitive operation is verify the direction of change. Treat all uncertain trend claims as unsafe. I hope you are getting my point. Why this is the highest risk? Trend changes year by year, right? UPSC know your data may be outdated and a statement correct 2 years ago may be false now. Designed specifically to trip up well-prepared aspirants. Requires current verified data, not general data. Okay, and your protocol for trend claims should be certain about direction, include with confidence, mostly sure about direction, include but flag mentally, uncertain about direction, treat as unsafe, don't anchor it on. No information about this trend, eliminate this statement first. I hope you are getting my point, right? So trend claims are the highest risk statement in any multi-statement questions. So you have to be very careful while answering that type of questions. Okay. If you are certain about the direction, include with confidence. If mostly sure about the direction, include but flag mentally. Uncertain about direction, treat as unsafe, don't anchor on it. I hope you are getting my points. Now the structure 4 is logical consistency. Does the consequence logically flow from the cause? What is it? Cause and effect question. You are asked whether a consequence logically follows from a cause, whether a policy produces a claimed outcome, or whether a sequence of events is in the correct order. Okay. The cognitive operation is, does the stated relationship contradict basic logic, economics, or governance principle? Okay. So cause and effect. When RBI increases the repo rate, borrowing cost decreases. Check, does lowering borrowing cost logically flow from higher repo rate? No, right? Higher repo rate increases cost of borrowing. So basic logic eliminates this immediately. So fails logically consistent. Example, policy outcome. Increasing MSP for crops will reduce food inflation. Check, does higher MSP reduce food inflation? No. Higher MSP increase farmer income but raises input cost to buyer, typically purchasing food price up. So fails logic consistently. I hope you are getting my point. And then sequence check. Parliament passes a bill, Parliament gives assent, President gives assent, Rajya Sabha debates. Check, is the sequence correct? No, Rajya Sabha debates before the bill is sent to the President. The sequence is wrong, no data needed, fails logical consistency. So subject knowledge becomes secondary here. Logical reason becomes primary. I hope you are getting my point clearly, right? Now, compare the 4 structures side by side. Some same question, different structure identification, different thinking pattern. Okay. True or false validation. The structure is true and false validation. Cognitive task is test each statement always true, partially true, or false. Okay. Key signal is which of the following statements are correct. Then common trap will be absolute language, all, always, never. Okay. The next structure will be the classification. Find the boundaries rule, apply it to the each item, count those that passes. So key signal will be like how many of the above are classified as. So treating it as a recall instead of classification. That is a common trap. Trend or direction. Verify the direction of change. Treat uncertainty trends as unsafe. So the dash has increased as declared is currently. So this is the key signal. The what is the common trap for this such type of structure is using outdated data confidently, right? And logical consistency. Does the consequence logically follows? Check basic cause effect logic. Because of X, Y happens or sequence statements. This is the key signal. Trying to recall data instead of applying knowledge. That is a common trap, right? So identifying the structure takes 2 seconds. It saves 30 to 45 seconds per question. Clear? So what structure does it to your time? The difference is 40 to 45 seconds per question. So 30 to 45 seconds per question with structure. 100 questions in UPSC prelims, 50 to 75 minutes total time saved across the paper. What the time allows you to do? Okay, these 50 to 75 minutes, what these times allow you to do? Review all skip zone 3 questions with fresh eyes and remaining time, right? Apply cut reset breath between the section. not just between the question. Prevent the paper level collapse that hits aspirant running out of the time. Finish with confidence instead of marking random guess under panic. So, across 100 questions, 50 to 75 minutes saved because of the structure. More than enough to review and prevent paper level collapse. I hope you are getting a clear cut idea. Right? The same question, two different cognitive paths. Okay, structure does not add a step, it replaces longer, less accurate process. Okay, the MCQ of 2025. With reference to investment, consider bonds, hedge funds, stocks, venture capitals. How many are treated as alternative investment funds? Without structure, recognize four financial terms, feel confidence, steadied economy. Very good. For 2 seconds, you have to feel very great because you know all these things. Begin recalling details about bonds, hedge funds, stocks, venture capitals. Slowly, you will do this. After 15 seconds, uncertainty whether VC is technically AIF or second guess hedge fund. Under 25 seconds, wonder if bonds have same IAF category you missed. Guess A or B. Mark A with partial confidence. The result will be wrong answer, negative marking, time wasted. Right? You are wasting time, you are getting negative marking. So your knife have a both side sharpness. I hope you are getting my. So when you have a structure, identify structure, it is a classification. Clearly find the boundary line. AF private bold fund, not publicly traded. Right? Apply to bonds, public debts, it fails. Stocks, public equity, it fails. Hedge funds, private pool, yes, it pass. Venture capital, it's pass. Two items pass. Option B is the correct one. Correct answer. Within 50 seconds, you have marked high confidence. You mark. I hope you are getting my point. So, the feeling of slowness is the correct and temporary. Some of you will try this in the next mock and feel like structure identification is adding a step. This is an honest moment. When you first practice structure identification in mock, it will feel like an extra work. Honestly speaking, you will feel that it is an extra work. You feel slower. You may feel like you were bitter off before. That feeling is not evidence that the framework doesn't work. It is an evidence that framework is not yet automatic. Okay. First, your brain will resist. Why you are adding all these steps? Just kindly please allow me to mark it as my intuitions. But you have to practice unless it becomes automatic. So before these 70 plus days, you need to practice. If you practice on the exam day, your brain will resist and you will automatically go into the same old pattern. I hope you are getting my point. That's why I made this course prior 70 days to the prelims so that you can practice. You can practice in your mocks. You can evaluate your weaknesses and how you are overcoming your weaknesses through this process. That should be the evidences for your improvement. I hope you are getting my point. So, the new driver analogy. New driver, consciously check mirrors before every line changes. Feels slow, takes deliberate efforts, misses other cues while focusing on mirror. Learning, mirror checking becomes faster. Still conscious but less effortless. Starting to integrate with other driving tasks simultaneously. And the experienced one, mirror checking is automatic, happens in the same moment as the intention to change the lines. No conscious effort, no time cost. So when you practice this structure in your mock, brain will resist compulsory. Your brain is there to resist one additional step in solving the MCQ. But you need to witness that brain is resisting and you have to witness that and you have to tell yourself that it is like I am not practiced yet. I have to practice this thing so that it becomes habituate and unconsciously I have to habituate and I can increase the speed of applying this structure into my MCQs. So you have 70 plus days. Please practice and avoid your negative scoring. I hope you are getting my points. So our goal is structure identification become unconscious. Seeing a question and identifying its type happens in the same moment. Built in mock test starting with the next one. Any new process feels slow at first because it is not yet automatic. That is expected. That is correctable. I hope you are getting my point. Right? Now, how to build structure identification into automaticity. So, the practice does not require more questions. It requires different attention during practice. So, you don't need more questions. but it needs different attention during practice. First one is structure tracking. For every question in your next mock, before reading options, write S1, S2, S3 or S4 next to the question. Check accuracy after the test. Track which structure you misidentify the most. This is your exercise. Then PYQ reanalysis. Take any 20 PYQs from economy or polity, categorize each by structure. You will find that majority are S1, true or false, S2, classification. This calibrate your prior. Right? Now the next step is trend claim audit. Every time you encounter a trend claim, S3, ask, can I verify the direction with certainty? If not, mark it as an unsafe. Track how often an unsafe trend claim turn out to be the wrong statement. You will have evidences, right? In the same way, logic chain practice. For S4 questions, write out the cause effect chain explicitly before evaluating options. If A, then B, because this forces logical reasoning over all recall. I hope you are getting my point. So label the structure of every question you attempt not after checking the answer, but before, right? So, how day 1 to 4 work together in the exam hall? Each section added one tool. Together they form a complete cognitive protocol, right? Day 1, reframe pressure. You reframed pressure. Pressure is structural, not personal. It is a proof of preparation. You are not failing. You are functioning. Ongoing mindset, right? Day 2, cut, reset, breath. 10 to 15 seconds. When panic appears, sharp inhale 3 seconds, long exhale through your mouth 6 to 7 seconds, then pause, forward anchor, body first, right? Then day 3, 3-step decoding. You identify type, you find decision word, find elimination handle, read once accurately. It is like 5 to 8 seconds. Now, structure first. Day 4, S1 true false, S2 classification, S3 trend, S4 logic. Narrow the cognitive task before the engaging content. It is like 2 seconds, right? The sequence is reframe, then breath if needed, then decode, then structure, then eliminate, then select. Overhead, it is less than a 20-second process, saving 30 to 45 seconds per question. This is not a collection of tips. It is a sequential protocol that runs automatically. I hope you are getting my points, right? So, in day 5, zone management, what we are going to deal is how to handle 3 zones of questions so the hard one don't sink the easy ones. You have 4 tools for what happens inside a question. Okay, you have a 4 tools when something happens inside a question. Right? Day 5 zooms out to the question level strategy. How you will decide what to attempt, what to skip, and what order to tackle the question in. Most aspirants lose 10 to 15 marks not from bad thinking, but from bad sequencing. Okay, that will be discussed in day 5. It is like the 3 zones. Zone 1 is certain, zone 2 is eliminatable, zone 3 is unknown. Each requires a different strategy. So the sequencing rule, why you should not answer questions in order and what order maximizes your score, is day 5 class. And skip and return protocol, when to skip, how to mark, and when to return, prevent the time collapse and panic spirals. This is what we are going to discuss in day 5 class. So tonight in your next mock or session, tag every question S1, S2, S3, S4 before looking at the options. Today, handle thinking within a question. Tomorrow, handle strategy across question. Okay? So, today's key takeaways are: unstructured thinking under pressure is the cause of going blank, even when knowledge is present. That is the first key takeaway. Second one is, the fix is not to think harder. It is to think within the predetermined structure. I hope you got a clear-cut idea. Then, structure 1, true or false. Test each statement, always true, partially true, or absolutely false. Right? Then, structure 2, classification. Find one boundary rule, apply it to each item, count those that passes. Then structure 3, trend or direction. Treat all uncertain trends, claims as unsafe, require verified data. Right? So, state structure 4, logical consistency. Does the consequences logically flow? Reasoning beats recall. These are the primary key takeaways. And structure identification takes 2 seconds. It saves 40 to 45 seconds across 100 questions up to 75 minutes. Okay. By using these 75 minutes, the feeling of slowness in your next mock is correct and temporary. Automaticity comes with deliberate practice. This is the major important key takeaway from this day 4 class. Okay. Clear thinking under pressure. Day 4 ends here. I hope you are enjoying this session and I hope you are practicing the key takeaways from the end of the sessions. So if you don't practice whatever the things I am giving you in the classes, it won't fetch you good results. I hope you are getting my point. Thank you. Thank you so much.